Hey, what's up everyone? So, another update on the Punch-Out restoration. A lot's been done once again. The first thing is I got all my powder-coated parts back. So all my metal pieces came back and they turned out awesome. I had them done in a gloss just to match the black gloss laminate on the cabinet, and they look super, super sharp. I also took out all of the parts that I had tumbled, all the little tiny metal pieces, mostly for the coin door, and those look really sharp and sparkly too. I'm always amazed at how well that works with the tumbler, just how well it does that. And all I have to do is just sit back and let it do its thing. So it's pretty cool. And so the first thing I really did was I put together the coin doors. So I got all the pieces and laid that all out, got those reattached to the coin doors, and then mounted them to the cabinet. And so the coin doors are done. They look really sharp, and I added a couple locks, one to each of the two doors. And so the coin doors are done, all the wiring's there. I replaced the bulbs too. I didn't do that on camera, but both of the bulbs for the reject buttons are replaced. And then I went to town on the control panel, and I always like doing that. That's kind of an instant gratification thing. And this is one of the nicer control panel overlays. It's screen printed. It's got it's die cut, so it's got the holes already for the buttons and the joystick already cut out. And I always have a little bit of a challenge with the tight bends on either end. And so what I like to do with that is use a heat gun, and then also I like to clamp everything down and let that sit for a while, and that usually works pretty well. And in this case, those sharp bends are also not shown, and so even if that adhesive bubbles a little bit or whatever, it's going to rest flat against the cabinet. So it turned out really nice. And then afterwards I went through and I added the joystick, I added the buttons, and got all the bolts and everything all mounted on there. And so the control panel's done. I got it all wired up, and it's looking super, super sharp. The next thing I did was I wanted to do something about the cardboard bezels, and I've got them right here, the original cardboard bezels that go around the monitors, and you can see how beat up these things are. I mean, they're just falling apart, coming apart. This one especially is all torn to shreds, and this is actually the nicer one of the two, but you can see it's torn right down here, and it's real flimsy and just kind of bent out of shape. And so originally I wanted to see if I could get repros done. There's a guy on Clav called Joey Kuda who does reproduction cardboard bezels for a variety of games, and he was no longer doing these because they're one of the more difficult ones apparently to do, and they're a little more fragile. No kidding, right? And so I didn't know what to do with these. Originally, I was going to try to just kind of patch them together and maybe use some tape on the back to kind of hold it, and staples to hold everything together. But then I was talking to my buddy Chris, who does amazing restorations, and he convinced me to just try to make my own cardboard bezels. I never really thought of that. I'm not really that crafty of a guy, but he made it sound super simple as long as you take your time. So I ran over to Hobby Lobby and picked up what's called mat board, which is a much thicker material than, say, like poster board or even cardboard. In the case of these bezels, it's a much heavier duty material than these original cardboard bezels. And so what I did was I flanned out the original cardboard bezel, and I basically traced around that and used that as a template. And so I used an X-Acto blade, a really sharp one, and a lot of elbow grease, and basically cut out the outside shape and then cut on the inside. And then I was able to use a straight edge and do all the bends that way. And I'm really pleased with how they came out. Actually, I've got one right here, and you can just see how much heavier duty it is. It really turned out nice. I'm really happy with how it looks. I think it's going to hold up much better. And again, it's probably not exactly the same as the other one, but it's pretty damn close, and I'm really happy with that. And if you compare the two, this is the nicer one of the two originals I've got. Even if I stapled this back together, patch this back together, it's just super flimsy, and it didn't make much sense. And so it's much better to have something heavier duty, and I think this is really gonna work out really nice. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Actually, here's both right here. So yeah, I think these are gonna do nicely. And I was going to actually paint these. I'd like to, with some of the other cardboard bezels that I have in my games, a lot of times I like to hit them with either like a satin or even a semi-gloss because it's a much darker black than what's on here. But since this game has such a strong tinted plexi, when I went back with one of these, I couldn't even see it. It's just gone. It just disappears. It's just a pitch black. And so there's no need to do that. So, you know, I'm all about saving some time on extra work. But yeah, really happy with these cardboard bezels. And then the last thing I did was worked on the audio amplifiers for the game. Most of these Nintendo games have Sanyo monitors that have their own audio amplifiers actually built onto the monitor itself. And they're notorious for having this hum or this buzz that comes through the speaker. It sounds like an interference, and it's very annoying. And so I wanted to work on tackling that. And I actually recorded some footage of me doing that, so I'll just cut to that now. Okay, so I've got one of my monitors set up here just to demonstrate, but what's interesting about these Nintendo games is that the audio amplifiers for them are actually located on the monitor itself. They're actually part of the monitor chassis, and the audio amp is this little tiny board, this guy right here. And so what I'm going to do is turn the game on and just demonstrate that hum, that buzzing that is famous for these games, just so that you can get an idea of what kind of noise we're talking about. So I'm just going to go down here, turn the power on. Let's go around here. Okay, so you can hear the game audio, and it sounds pretty good, right? So I'm going to wait until this intro music quits, and then you can hear the buzzing and the hum, hopefully. It's almost done. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me hold this up a little closer. Okay, so I had the microphone pretty close, but you get a sense of that hum, that buzzing. So what I'm gonna do now is pull this audio amplifier and see if we can fix that issue. Okay, so I've got the amplifier board here. It's just this little tiny board that you see here. And I've already replaced all the capacitors on here. That's part of the rebuild kit for the monitor chassis. So I've already done that. But the problem is that this almost never fixes that hum, that buzz. And so I did some digging on the collab forums, and I found one thread that talked about modifying this and basically doing two little things to this board in order to fix that. And what you're doing is you're taking this little tiny capacitor right here, pulling it out and just putting it in that spot that says C379. So you're just moving that capacitor over, and then you take a 50K pot potentiometer like you see here, and that goes in the spot where the capacitor was, just fits in there. And so essentially what you're doing is you're moving that cap, you're putting a pot on there, and this pot is going to control the volume. So you're no longer using the remote board. So there's another board that has all of the potentiometers for the monitor adjustments, and one of them is the sound volume, and that plugs in here. But you're disconnecting this, and you're just using this pot now to control the volume. So essentially what you're doing is you're eliminating that cable that goes from here to that remote board. And for whatever reason, that's supposed to cure and eliminate that hum and that buzz. So I don't know how it works, but a lot of people have said it's worked for them. So I'm going to do that. All right, so I just finished, and you can see we've got the new potentiometer there for our sound volume, and the little capacitor is in its new home in C379. So let's get this installed and see if this worked. All right, so I've got the audio amp mounted back on the board here, and I don't have this cable right here connected because we're now using this for the volume and not this pot here. So here goes the test. I'm going to flip the switch on here. Whoa, that's really loud. I got to turn this down here. That's better. All right, so let's go around here close to the speaker. I'm not hearing anything. Let's see here. Oh, damn. I'm not hearing anything. Here, let me move the microphone up here. Wow. There is like zero hum or buzz. That really freaking worked. If you get like, so I'm holding the microphone. You can see I've got the microphone pretty darn close. That's maybe like, oh, I don't know, 2 inches away. Damn. That is impressive. Let me put my ear up to this. Okay, so if I put my ear all the way up to it, I can faintly hear a little bit of the buzz, but holy smokes, what a night and day difference. That is impressive. Sweet. So yeah, that made a huge difference, and I did both of the monitors, and they sound fantastic now. So that's about it. That's the update. What's next on the agenda? Well, the big hiccup right now is I need to get these monitors working the way that I want them to. The picture just isn't where I want it to be. I'm still having geometry issues, and I'm just getting super frustrated. I've tried all kinds of testing, and I'm at the point now where I need some additional help, whether I send them off to have someone repair or find someone local that can help me with them, because I'm just tearing my hair out over this. But that's the next order of business, because that's really the big hang-up, are the monitors. I'm still having geometry issues, and I've got a thread on Clav that's really detailed what I've done thoroughly to test everything and all the troubleshooting. So that's the big next step. Once I get that done, I can just plow through the rest of this. It's going to go really quick. So that's my only hang up right now. The other thing is I still need to replace the marquee light here, which I'll do as soon as I get my marquee. I've paid for a brand new reproduction from this old game, and it's, I believe, been packed up. I don't know if it's been shipped yet, but as soon as I get that, then I can slap that baby on there. And really, that's about it. I don't have much else. I have to still install a switcher to switch between Super Punch-Out and regular Punch-Out. I have that. I have everything basically that I need. So it's pretty much a straight shot from here on out once I get those monitors the way that I want them to be. So anyhow, that's the long-winded update, and I'll see you guys in the next video blog. Thanks.